Gentlemen, the Lionhearts concept design work, planning, this is huge. So without further ado, getting exclusive first look at the Lionhearts Kickstarter. Lionhearts Kickstarter is here. This is all artwork. This is not AI generated. This is artwork rendered from Unreal Engine that we have from actual assets for the game. Right here, we say $200,000 initial goal. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna read this. Lionhearts is a medieval feudal simulator MMORPG where players gain favor in their kingdom so they can ascend the religious, military, and trade social hierarchies and acquire more wealth, tools, land, and power in the historical setting of the 12th century Third Crusade. Every part of the Lionhearts world is influenced and controlled by players' decisions and players' freedoms. Lionhearts is being developed on Unreal Engine 5 for Steam and other platforms. And we're getting into some of this just really cool artwork. Why Lionhearts is different. In the world of Lionhearts, you have the freedom to choose. There are three main paths you can take: military, trade, and religion. Within each path are intricate player-run social hierarchies where players can grow and progress, creating the ultimate role-playing experience where you can live the medieval life. Values and standards. And guys, this isn't just concept, but this isn't just drawn by an artist. This is rendered in Unreal Engine. This is a sample of how the game, like these are models and assets for the game. Values and standards. The theme of Lionhearts is cooperation and meritocracy. That's also true in Lionhearts Crusade. By ascending to the top through your own merit and working with others, you could become the leader of an empire. Mission: to use a background of history and cultural clashes to teach, inform, and entertain users. Vision: provide a unique, immersive, and socialized historical experience like no other. Historicity: Lionhearts aims to authentically represent what the 12th century medieval world was like. By doing this, development additions must be made within the bounds of historical deniability. Quality: Lionhearts' content, features, and all of development will be top tier within the means in our budget. Quality is essential for everything the studio adds and does. Lionhearts aims to bring the best out of its players with vigorous and punishing competition. Systems made to reward competence and hard work. Players in Lionhearts will ascend based on their own quality and merit. Those with the right leadership skills and capabilities will make it to the top. And let's talk about some core features. So this is just like, as a studio, the standards and values that we want to embody with this project and what we have in mind to make this work. Actually, Unreal is an amazing engine. It is incredible. The stuff you can do in Unreal Engine is just outstanding. The speed of development is insane. Stuff that would take days in Roblox can be done in just a couple hours to a much higher quality and standard. So it's just an incredible engine. Core features: military. And by the way, guys, please ask questions in the chat when you have come up, and just ping me in the chat so I can see them as questions. Military: earn yourself glory through battle in your favorite military orders, such as the Knights Templar, eventually becoming a lord of your own territory to defend. I think I need to still edit that a little bit. Trade: choose between 66 different jobs and climb your way to becoming a patrician of your own guild. Time historical weapons: yes. I think we're going to be a lot more diligent with what we allow on characters as far as skins and such, and weapons for sure. No halberds, just be pole arms. Love the questions on religion. Those are going to be addressed. There's going to be more grind in some areas, less in others, depending on how you define grind. Voice acting, 100% we want to do that, but there's going to be so little reliance on NPCs that it's going to be mostly proximity voice chat. You are going to be talking to real characters, or as we talk about with some AI and the shadow system, you're going to be able to set your character to have dialogue when you're not even online and do certain tasks. Religion: devote your time and talents to the religious orders to become a bishop of your own religion with your own church or mosque. Multiplayer world: join your friends in large-scale battles and resource collection. One live world. There's real supply and demand. There's some typos, guys, because we are still editing this, so I apologize for that. But again, we're still kind of proofreading everything, even though everything on here should theoretically be correct from a feature standpoint. Players are in control. Players run the economy, politics, diplomacy, and warfare. All world events are organic and unscripted. So just like in the current game, but even taking that further than how we take it now. Player-driven trade. With 14 guild types and 66 career paths, blacksmith, merchant, etc., you can roleplay to your heart's control entire industries by founding guilds, setting prices, and monopolizing resources. So something we don't have right now is game would be. There's a lot of this that's not in the current game. In fact, a lot of this focuses on the stuff that's going to be unique to Reforged that's not in current Lionhearts. Authentic medieval land management. Control lands as a lord and levy taxes, build cities, and lease property to your fellow players. Definitely going to be taking the accuracy of the way we build cities a lot more into account. It's very inconsistent in the current game. Some cities are very historically accurate, others are not. So we're going to totally take that into account. Now, again, we're going to work with that historical deniability that I talked about on my video this week. So it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to get as good as we can. Shadow tasking system. This is really cool, guys. This is what's going to make the whole game work. Set an offline AI NPC to gather resources, craft items, or maintain your territory while you're away. So Lionhearts is never going to sleep. If you want your character is going to be constantly doing things. So you might leave the game, but your character lives in Lionhearts forever. So if there's a battle and it's at 3 a.m., you can set your character could go attend the battle, and we're going to talk about that more later. It's like AFK mining, but way more sophisticated. It doesn't require your PC to be on. Gather resources. Cut down trees, mine forage for herbs. The world will provide what you need. Open world. World is open and free, so explore what's over that hill. Could be a cliff, who knows? You can progress in both military and trade and religion. There's not going to be a storyline or a campaign. It's a multiplayer game, so we're going to let the story be told by the players, although we are going to have history present. Yes, there are going to be ways to improve fortifications and siege weapons. Cut down trees. I already said that. Persistent world territory conquest. As a lord, you can revolt or even take territory from other lords and kingdoms. You can shape the borders of the world, much like today. Map is going to be similar to what we have now, although we're probably going to start a little bit smaller, just southern Levant. But it's not going to be the same as what we have now. It's just going to be a similar setting. Battle your friends in various different ways, from caravan raids, capture the flag, and more. Skirmishes are kind of going to be like our matchmaking system. I'll go into that more. Capture Jerusalem. Conquer the lands with your friends on your path to take Jerusalem. Farm with friends. Want to take it easy? Start a farm with your friends. Sandboxing. Change and shape the land how you want. This is huge, guys. You guys have been begging for this in Crusade. Earn upgrades for your farms, homes, defenses, and more. And finally, become the one true king. Prove your merit through brutal games of politics and war. Rise your way up to the top and become the only king of an entire kingdom of players. Guys, we got a lot. Look how much is here, guys. We're very early on in the scroll wheel, so buckle up. This is going to be a long one. And this is just the startup. This is just the... First of all, I want your guys' thoughts, because this is when people see the page... They're already pretty deep in. I want to know what you guys think of the page so far. Because when people see this, they're going to be very skeptical at the beginning. We got to sell them early on. And of course, we're going to have a really high quality cinematic trailer. It's going to fucking blow you away. I've seen what we've got going on so far for the cinematic trailer. AAA. It's insane. And that's going to be right here. So what are your thoughts so far? Let me know in the chat as I keep going. Stretch goals. So Kickstarter, you have to raise all the money or else it goes all the way back. So when you donate, it's a little bit of security for you guys that your money is, if we don't raise the full amount to get the project done, you get your money back. $200,000 is our playable demo stretch goal. And keep in mind, guys, we're going to be doing a ton of marketing from now until this release to make sure we meet this minimum goal, if not the furthest stretch goal. I think we're really going to take a lot of people by surprise with how much momentum we bring. A lot of people have been waiting for a game like this on Steam. The Roblox market is super dry for this type of game compared to Steam, which is one of the reasons we've had struggles getting players. Playable demo, basic combat and fighting arena, Jerusalem City showcase, praying mechanic, and blacksmith crafting. There's going to be more there. That's just sort of the basics. Lionhearts Alpha. Core elements of the game are usable and semi-polished, able to fight, participate in the core loop, and participate in your kingdom. Lionhearts Beta. Base elements of the game are completed and polished. Kingdoms can fight, skirmishes can be played, and the economy is functional. Reforged. Southern Levant region, 36 duchies. 360 lordships, 3 kingdoms, England, Ayyubids, Templars, 4 skirmish game modes, capture the flag, control points, regicide, blood feud, 5 guild types, masonry, woodworking, metalworking, culinary, apothecary, 4 skirmish game modes, capture the flag, control points, regicide, blood feud, 2 religions, Catholicism and Sunni Islam, religious, political dynamics, and influence. Next stretch goal, mounted warfare. Central Levant region, an additional 36 duchies, 360 lordships, 4 more kingdoms, France, Zangids, Teutonics, Kingdom of Jerusalem, resource raid, skirmish mode, combat and mounted combat and horses, steeds and livestock, ability to breed and grow your flock, 3 more guild types, innkeepers, husbandry, leatherworking. Siege engines. In the next goal, Northern Levant region, an additional 36 duchies, 360 lordships, 4 more kingdoms, Antioch, Seljuks, assassins, hospitalers, caravan and sabotage skirmish game modes, military convoy duchy conquests, siege weapons, 4 more guild types, alchemical, tailoring, fine crafts, advanced kingdom diplomacy, and casus belli. 2 more religions, Orthodox Christianity and Shiite Islam. Next stretch goal, Dominion, Anatolia region. How about that, Turks? An additional 36 duchies, 360 lordships, Persia region with an additional. So this stretch goal is coming with 2 more regions. 4 more kingdoms, Romans, Byzantines, Sicilia. How about that, Haru? You've been begging for that for a while. Holy Roman Empire, Abbasids. Sandboxing, construction, and lordships, plot districting in cities and garrisons. Every building is destructible and rebuildable. Siege weapons, engineering guild. Assassins are Shiite, that's why they're getting added. They're actually the only Shiite faction, I think. Naval warfare. Cyprus region, an additional 12 duchies, 120 lordships. Sicily region, 24 duchies, 360 lordships. Actually, that should be 240. Naval combat and shipbuilding. Shipping ports, naval caravans. This is the huge one, guys. Every building is destructible and rebuildable. Advanced kingdom trading mechanics, plagues, famine, and disease. So again, these are priced highly, but that's what it realistically costs to develop these things. So we want to be realistic. I think the game's going to be very fun even here. And part of the way we're mitigating this is by scaling it very appropriately so that the most core features of the game are done first. And then the rest of the stuff is expansions to help. I'm definitely excited to talk to you about the use of AI tab for sure. Core gameplay loop. This is kind of what my documentary is about. You start with gaining favor. If you're a soldier in the military, you fight for your kingdom in skirmishes, lordship, and duchy battles and sieges. You spend favor to unlock new social positions, skill trees, and abilities to further your status in the kingdom. Then you acquire new tools and weapons to further your fight. Favor is a type of award or currency you receive for contributing to your kingdom. There are 3 main categories of actions that will grant you favor. The first is military service. By fighting for your kingdom in persistent world territory conquest and skirmishes that have a real impact on your kingdom's wealth, land, and influence, you will be rewarded with favor. And yes, favor is the skill tree. It's a mix of experience, contribution, and skill trees wrapped into one. The second way to gain favor is by economically contributing to your faction. This can be done by harvesting resources, growing wealth and supplies for your kingdom. You gain favor. The third way to gain favor is through tithe and worship. Contributing gold to the church or participating in religious events, you gain favor. You can use favor to progress your skill tree and progress through the social hierarchy. And so here's how you ascend up the social hierarchy with the favor tree. You can use your favor to ascend the various hierarchies. So this is bottom down, bottom up. So these are the base ones. Age is below this. You go up. So when you earn favor, you get to unlock these skills. And there's actually a much more complicated mock-up of each one of these is way more complex than what this seems. This is totally narrowed down. Within each layer of this, there's a skill tree between each thing. So the progression's actually very dynamic and has a ton of steps to it. Just checking it. Acquire. After ascending, your player can acquire various new rewards. These rewards allow you to further progress your character in a way that translate into more favor being gains. Weapons and tools are gifted to the player in the form of tokens to be exchanged in an armory or stockpile. So if you don't want to grind to craft a weapon, your kingdom is going to automatically provide one for you through the supply and demand chain. Steeds and livestock can be gifted through ascension, then they can be used to be bred. Storage, property, lands, titles, and outfits. Each ascension will grant an additional storage in a shared facility, property and lands, can be gained through ascension, and with limited real estate, these are increasingly valuable. Titles can be gained as you gain renown and rank up through the hierarchy, which can then be displayed on your character for clout. Similarly, additional garb can be earned as you ascend to display your position to the public. Player-run societies. Within the world of Lionhearts, they will be... Oh, this is Kingdoms and Orders. Look at that artwork, guys. Isn't that incredible? This looks freaking amazing. The game is not 80% complete. If it was 80% complete, I wouldn't need a Kickstarter. Within the world of Lionhearts, there will be multiple kingdoms players can serve in or eventually rule. These kingdoms fight and compete for resources, land, and power in the Holy Land and beyond. Kingdoms are comprised of player-run and created retinues, meritocracies where players earn their way to the top through skill, competence, and dedication. All positions within a kingdom are operated by real players. Wars, conflict, and diplomacy are not scripted, but manifest naturally in free form among the kingdoms as they compete. Here are the planned kingdoms we mentioned above, and there's also military orders which operate independently like kingdoms with a progression twist. In these orders, religion and military progression are linked, so their favor trees are a little bit different. Kingdoms and their monarchs must balance both the diplomatic tensions outside their kingdom with political, military, and trade, religious tensions within their kingdom. Every monarch has sovereignty over their kingdom, but must deal with the external realities of the economy, religious patriarchs, and diplomacy. No, this game is not going to be pay to win. A Knight's Path military. Look at that. I just love this artwork. That's such a sick photo. The military of each kingdom is the branch that concerns welfare, warfare, and most of politics. The following is the hierarchy of the military within each kingdom and how the military is structured and operated in a decentralized manner. The monarch is the sole overlord of the entire kingdom and its dukes and its vassals. Monarch unlocks the diplomacy skill tree and their own capital city. Duke. Dukes can own duchies and have retinues and lords as vassals. They can also start rebellions against the monarch king of a capital duchy. Dukes unlock the politics skill tree and own a duchy or city. They help decide the leader monarch of the order/kingdom. Lords can start and lead a retinue and own lordships. Being a lord unlocks the statecraft skill tree. They can own land or private property. So the monarchs, I think the original ones, we're going to precept them just so we're sure that somebody competent is actually taking a position, and then it's totally hands-off. Player run. Retinue is created by a lord and comprised of a group of retainers or attendants. It's made up of a large group of knights, sergeants, men-at-arms, squires, pages, and serfs. A retinue is formed when a knight becomes eligible for a lordship by reaching the next tier of favor. There are several methods to acquire lordship after the player meets the favor requirements. A duke or monarch may bestow a grant of land through feudal service. A wealthy knight can petition to purchase a title. A knight may attempt to usurp a lord through a legitimized usurp or conquest by revolt. Once a knight becomes a lord, they must establish their retinue through the following process: interact with the keep of a duchy or capital, customize their retinue's sigil, armor designs, adhering to any limits set by the monarch or duke. Lords can revisit and modify their armor designs at any time for a fee set by the kingdom. After forming a retinue, a lord gains various responsibilities and opportunities: political participation and decision-making, commission construction projects on their land plots, delegate land plots for kingdom trade or religious use, ensure the safety of caravans throughout their land, defend their lordships against invasion, set preferences for caravan launching and placement cross-server, gain favor and power to potentially become a duke. So the top of this favor hierarchy is late game. Of course, if you're a lord, that means you own land, so it's a very difficult position to get to, but it's more achievable than being a duke or a monk, obviously. As a player's retinue expands, its leader may feel the need to delegate duties to their knights. Establishing and operating a retinue is one of the first steps to becoming more involved in the global game world. Members of a retinue directly interact with the world in a variety of ways. A retinue's leader can establish uniforms for their retinue and potentially apply ranges and limitations for the appearances of other retinues, if they're a duke or a monarch. Sky Knight, we're working on a very high quality cinematic, like AAA quality trailer that, again, I think it's going to blow people away, and it's going to bring a ton of people to this campaign. On top of that, we have other plans, including stuff like this Kickstarter, including stuff like we're doing with the YouTube channel,
the Steam page to just get this as much attention as possible, as well as a massive YouTuber campaign for promotion. So people are going to hear about this game. A retinue is responsible, or let's actually see. Members of a retinue can queue for battles. They are matched with each other, responsible for the law and security of its direct lordship. When a caravan of goods or tax gold or taxes departs from a location, the member of the retinue are generally responsible for ensuring the safety of the caravan. And we'll look into caravans soon. A retinue leader is responsible for arming their men via dedicated stockpiles. You guys ready to get into trade? Not everybody who's banned on the Roblox game is going to be kept on banned on Steam. Some people are going to definitely be kept banned, but it just depends. The Trade Master is the highest obtainable position within the trade hierarchy. This is basically the monarch of a specific trade. So to break this down, blacksmithing is a trade, and blacksmithing has one trade master across the entire map, across the entire Lionhearts world. He regulates and the entire trade's market's prices. Magnates regulates the guilds within a kingdom. One is appointed per kingdom per trade. So a magnate is like a trade master, but still subject to the king and a kingdom. Trade masters, they're like, it's like Elon Musk. That's not a good example right now with his political stuff, but it's like Bill Gates, okay? Global. Can vote for a global trade master among their fellow magnates intra-kingdom. Patricians can start and lead their own guild and guild building. They can own land or private property. Within the world of Lionhearts, there are 14 guilds. Each job comes with its own unique play mode of the game. If you are a bladesmith, you will be able to craft swords, polearms, sickles, and more through the use of a forge that only you can access. This gives a whole new meaning to an open world gameplay, or open world roleplay, where you can roleplay as an entire career. So what are these guilds? Fine crafts guilds, woodworking guilds, administrative guilds, culinary guild, tailoring guild, husbandry guild, leatherworking, metalworking, masonry, maritime, innkeepers, alchemical, apothecary, engineering. I think we might even be missing a couple here. With each of these guilds, there's between 3 to 8 different jobs a player can perform. Some of the jobs include innkeeper, sailor, farmer, blacksmith, bard, tavern keeper, hunter, beekeeper, butcher, tax collector, and many more. A guild is formed when a merchant becomes eligible for patrician by reaching the tier of economic influence. There are several methods to establish a trade guild. A magnate or trade master may gain a charter of commerce. A wealthy merchant can petition to purchase a guild charter. A merchant may attempt to establish a rival guild, either through a legitimized competition, if accepted, or a market takeover, if declined and successful. Challenging the established guild can have a significant economic and political consequences, potentially leading to trade wars. Once a merchant becomes a patrician, they must establish their guild through the following process. Interact with the administrative center to begin the guild establishment process. Customize their guild's emblem and tradesman uniforms, adhering to any regulations set by magnates or trade masters. After forming a guild, a patrician gains various responsibilities and opportunities. Interact with fellow members of the trade and kingdom and religious paths. Commission trade projects and establish trade routes. Negotiate trade agreements and partnerships with the other guilds' kingdoms. Ensure the quality and safety of goods traded under the guild's name. Set preferences for trade missions and market expansion across regions. Work towards gaining influence to potentially become a master merchant or join the trade council. The primary goal of a guild is to further player progression in the economic sphere by allowing them to establish a significant presence in the game's commerce. By doing this, they enter the competitive world of trade politics. Overall, trade guilds are the foundation and economic backbone of Lionhearts. Depending on the size and influence of one's guild, there may be market or many under its control. After a player guild expands, its leader may feel the need to delegate duties to their members. For economically minded or strategically oriented players, guilds will be both a fun and rewarding experience. For those players who enjoy market manipulation, economic planning, and interacting with various kingdoms through trade deals, participating in guilds is the place. So guilds are basically companies. So you could start a company and overtake the market in a local area and eventually globalize. That's the idea. Resource economy. There's various resources that spawn in different types and quantities. Woodcutting, farming, hunting, fishing, gathering. Serfs collect to meet the needs of tradesmen yeomen who try to meet the needs of a local sheriff and lord. to meet dukes, to meet leaders' needs. So it's a feudal system. It climbs up the hierarchy. Weapons, armors, consumables, wall repairs, siege weapons, and more all require materials to make and maintain. We'll get to the problem of player population soon. If we get anywhere close to meeting this goal for these fundraising goals, you have to understand too, guys, the Kickstarter is twofold. It's funding one, which takes all the economic risk from the studios taken out because it's funded. So we can just work on it and not have to worry about funding, which is really great because it just means we get to make an amazing game. Two, it's advertising. When people donate to a fundraiser, they're way more likely to come back and play it. So you're advertising and collecting funds. It does two things. So there will be players if we meet this fundraiser. Kickstarter's not up yet. This is a preview. It's going to be submitted for review after this. Demand is driven by personal player progression and armor, weapons, ships, walls, defenses, and sieges is collective demand. So kingdoms make subsidies or favor rewards for these things. Gold economy, totally player driven. I really recommend you guys watch the documentary I made on player freedom. I just updated the name of it. It's on my channel. It's now called Why Lionhearts. Did I just rename it? Lionhearts is the solution to gaming's biggest problem. I go over a lot of this stuff in depth, including the economy. There's a really good explanation. So make sure to watch that. Looting, weekly pay, guilds, all that stuff. It's all explained too in this chart, how everything flows around and about. Gold can be earned through wages, subsidies, stockpile buyouts, looting, mercenary leader, etc. Gold is also a key function. Now let's get to religion, because this is going to operate a lot how it is in the current game. And again, you guys can pause this. We're streaming at 4K or 1440p, so you can pause this and read through this if you want. If you're too impatient. Religion, and actually this is what I'm making a video about this week. It's going to be dropping the next couple days, talking about one of the really cool features we're adding to Reforged in religion. Religion in the world of Lionhearts is vital to the inner functioning of every kingdom, acts as a class to support societal ties between kingdoms, as well as gives a place for education, research, and alternative power structures. There'll be four main religions in Lionhearts: Catholicism, Orthodoxy, Orthodox Christianity, Shiite Islam, and Sunni Islam. Love to hear it. IB Cruisin's been one of the people. He's going to be working on the game. It's one of your developers right there. Hit him up. Love it, man. I'm glad you're here. Patriarch is the leader of religion. So, like, religion's going to have its own titles. These are generic titles, and of course, they're westernized. So it's not like there's going to be a bishop of Shiite Islam. It's going to be the correct term, a mufti, I believe. So just take that with a grain of salt. Patriarch is the leader of the canonical skill tree. They own the religious seat, which is a physical location. Archbishop regulates diocese within a kingdom. So if you're the Archbishop of France, you are the representative of Catholicism for the entire kingdom. So you're the leader of that religion in that kingdom, but you still serve the Pope, basically. So you're only beholden to the Pope and the king. The Pope's not beholden to the king at all, which is an interesting thing. Popes aren't restricted to kingdoms. The patriarchs of religion are independent. Bishops can start and lead a diocese. They unlock the miraculous skill tree. They own a church building. Diocese is made up of priests, monks, deacons, acolytes, laymen, and serfs. What is a diocese? It's just like a retinue and a guild, but for religion. A diocese is formed when a priest becomes eligible for bishop by reaching the next tier of religious favor. There are several methods to acquire bishop. Okay, go through that. An archbishop or patriarch may bestow a diocesan grant by church authority to an eligible priest. A wealthy priest can petition to establish a new diocese, resulting in the foundation of diocese if accepted. Once a priest becomes a bishop, they must establish their diocese through the following process. Visit the administrative center of the local cathedral, interact with the administrative center, get their diocese seal, clerical vestments, adhering to any limits set by the superseding archbishop and patriarch, complete the visual customization to unlock the rest of the ecclesiastical center's functions. After diocese, you have various responsibilities, interact with various religious players, monastic orders worldwide, contribute towards the construction of churches, monasteries, and other religious buildings, delegate areas for religious use, including pilgrimage sites and holy grounds, ensure the spiritual warfare of the faithful through the diocese, set preferences for religious ceremonies and practices with their jurisdiction, gain favor to potentially become an archbishop or patriarch. So each section of the game, it's broken up into 3 main societal sections: military, trade, and religion. Each of them have their own independent, decentralized hierarchies that are making decision and forming overall kingdoms. The kingdoms are the mix between these 3 different sections of society coming together. And at the top, it's intra-kingdom. Below the top, it's all enticed into one kingdom. And this is where it gets a little complicated. At the top, the leaders of these societal sects make decisions cross-kingdom, like a pope. Very nice, 69 cents. Diocese, if you guys want to donate, you can donate now to the stream. Do a super chat. It'll play something funny. Feel free. Get text-to-speech. It'll read it out loud on the stream. Infinity did it the other day. He donated $50. It was hilarious. There's a special thing that plays at $50. Each diocese has its core must be overseen by a bishop or higher, or they're directed by the pope or rose to the ranks of the clergy. Operating a diocese should be both fun, strategically focused experience. Depending on the size and importance of a diocese, there may be a parish or many under its controlled by priests. As a player's diocese expands, its bishop may feel the need to delegate duties to their priests and other clergy members. And here's a rosary animation from some development. It's actually going to be used in the cinematic. It's going to be a really key piece in the cinematic. You can kind of see how some of the cool physics of that. Each kingdom, so we're not calling them factions. It's just too limited of a term, so just use the word kingdom. Essentially a faction. Each kingdom has its own military, trade, and religion branch. Yes, it does. But some things like religion, like Catholicism, transcends multiple kingdoms. Same with trades, like there are blacksmiths everywhere. But when you choose a nationality, when you choose a kingdom at the beginning of the game, that's what you're bound to. This is a really cool feature, Praying in Faith, which we're going to actually have a whole video to show you guys in a few days about this feature and how cool it is. People can learn unique historical and religious prayers to give passive and active buffs. Essentially, it's spellcasting. A player can progress its character by actually memorizing and learning real prayers from scripture and holy texts. Beyond this, you can take these prayers out in your personal life to use whenever you feel fit. So let's say we're doing the Father prayer, right? The Lord's Prayer. If you're Catholic, you probably already have it memorized. But what will happen is we have this system, and I already have videos of it, but we already developed some of these systems in Unreal. So I know how they work. It's really cool. It's a directional, just like when you're playing Helldivers 2, you use your arrow keys, and you have 4 options, multiple choice. And if you get the prayer right and sequence it, casts a buff, either to help you like battle, when you're crafting or mining or whatever. It's just like a general buff, and they're real prayers. So then you can take them in your normal life and use them. So it's a really cool way to sort of tie religion in for your own personal spirituality and in the game. So if you're immoral and you're not in the religion, you never know.
How lore accurate do we get to be as a Catholic priest?
So IB Cruisin says, how lore accurate do we get to be as a Catholic priest? Great question. Is super lore accurate? I imagine what's going to happen is like branch of Catholicism is going to be run by real Catholics. And I can imagine a world where they regulate it very strictly and they have councils and decision making and all sorts of stuff. So the lore is going to be pretty insane. And if you become a Catholic priest, you'll have your own parish and do all sorts of stuff. Really appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you. More super chats, definitely appreciated. Whoever wants to give more. I love it. Very appreciated. Hope that answers the question. If not, feel free to hit me up with a follow-up in the chat. When one enters the religious hierarchy, it comes with nerfs as well as buffs. By becoming more religious, the character becomes more aware of their moral behavior, which is shown to them by a sin counter. Sin gives a minor debuff to the player, which must then be cleansed at a confession. So this gives more necessity to the priestly roles beyond role-playing, basically. They're regulating and doing prayers. Priests can actually cast prayers that affect people around them, not just themselves, like blessings. And it's like a core mechanic, just like combat. Actually, like the religious stuff, I'm really proud of.
Let's freaking go, boys! Let's freaking go! The St. Patty Army has assembled! We're here! Everybody do the Irish jig! There it is! They be jigging it! They're jigging it! Woo!
Get my
What? Spirit of St. Patty will be blessing you.
Whenever you
Don't
donate
forget
50,
it.
I'm getting up and doing these.
Forget the
jigs.
spirit of St. Patty.
That's
TS just Irish jig
Sith Andir.
$50. Donate or I teleport you all to Infernum Zone and drop you from the sky and take your loot mid RB.
Wait, what did it? Donate or I teleport you all to Infernum Zone and drop you from the sky and take your loot mid-road battle. Epic. Love it. Thank you, TS, for the 50. I really appreciate that. That's going to be going towards Reforge, so in the studio. So thank you very much, guys. All these donations go to the studio to help pay bills, get these games done. Thank you very much. Very generous. So again, the sin system, I like to think of it like a philosophical sense. Like if you're, agnostic or atheistic, you don't study morality, or you're morally ambiguous, you don't really think about it. But once you learn about religion and come into religion, it also has a weight on your soul, which then serves as a nerve. It's a heavy burden. It's an existential burden. So that's kind of the philosophy behind this system. I'm really excited about. Next, the world of Lionhearts, the Holy Land. The Holy Land is the world of Lionhearts with modern development technology. This is huge. The entire world will be stitched together in cells that the player can seamlessly traverse without loading screens or interruption. Servers will be localized to their cells. There will only be one server for each cell, making sure that happen in the world are live and have no duplicates. If I'm standing next to the Dome of the Rock, it is one server. There's not 10 servers with people standing next to the Dome of the Rock, just one. If there's hundreds of people around it, that is in one server. The Holy Land, in a sense, will be its own real with no copies or alternatives. This goes along with the whole idea of the game. Supply and demand. Things are valuable. It has a weight to it because of its limitations and because there's only one copy. So this is huge. Really huge. There's actually, Ranger, there's already a lot of sci-fi games that do this. I just don't know of any medieval games that do it. There are a ton of sci-fi games that pull this off. So if it gets a little crowded, that's a good problem to have. We'll make expansions. I don't know what that question means, Kono. I'm not going to dig by reading it out loud because I don't understand it. So the technical side of that's going to be challenging, but we're going to figure it out because it's important to this whole thing, and it's already been pulled off in game. Guys, the performance is not going to be a concern because this is on an engine and a platform that's built for higher-end games. We put a massive MMO on a game built for Adopt Me, on a game, an engine built for Cart Ride to Heaven, okay? These are false equivalents. Crusade being laggy on your Toshiba Handybook from 2011 does not mean that when you download Lionhearts Reforged and have the right specs for the game to work, that it's going to have major performance issues. It's just not a one-to-one. I didn't say my game was better than Adopt Me. I said it was more technically challenging and more intensive, which it is. It's way more going into Crusade than Adopt Me from an attacked. Like, next. Jerusalem is the jewel of the Holy Land. It's going to be just like it is now. Duchies are owned and operated by dukes. This is what a duchy looks like, much like a garrison territory today. So you have the main city in the center of the duchy, the garrison, if you will, surrounded by lordships that are owned by individual lords. Rival lords can capture these garrisons to expand their lordship. Lords can also rebel against the duke in duchy battles to overthrow their duke. And capitals the same way. So here's the capital seat of Jerusalem. There's actually more lordships because it's a more important territory. And the same thing. This acts as like a state. If you're thinking about the United States, right? This would be Washington, D.C. This would be Colorado. And these are all the counties owned by different, legislative bodies. All sorts of things. Supply and demand. Real estate. Every piece of land in Lionhearts is owned by a real player as one copy. It creates an actual supply and demand real estate economy where land and buildings have actual value. Land is either leased from a lord or granted you by a duke or monarch. Once the land is owned, it can be modified as you wish. Various sandbox mechanics. Sandbox land ownership. So this is what a lordship looks like, which I should write as a comment under. So this is a zoomed in image of one of these lordships here. So you can see they have different zones, which the developers set, but then the lords can decide what to build there. So they can build houses in the residential zone, defenses in the military zone. Sometimes they'll be designated historical plots where real landmarks are that you can't move or change. And then like agricultural or farms or branches. And then the garrisons, the lordships are going to be like garrisons. They each have a flag. And we're going to talk about that more when we get to the territory conquest, which we're not even there yet. Or be given a specific section of land to do with as they please. Land will be divided into 6 different zones for lords to build on. This should be zone types. These zones are residential, resource, agricultural, military, religious, and historical. In each zone, you can build up and upgrade markets dependent on the zone type. I can build a market inside of a residential zone, etc. Or it'd be more of a trade. Here's some more images rendered. Thanks for tuning in, Hoodie. Appreciate it. I'm not sure about Mecca right now, Kona. I don't know if that's what the religious seat will be or not. Lords also levy taxes on these residents. So you pay taxes to your local lord, who then pays them to his duke, who then pays it to the monarch. All feudal, localized. So if you're a lord, you feel like the owner of your own kingdom, basically. Because you do. A plot of land, and you have people that live there, and because real estate's so valuable, you're valuable as a lord. City and garrison plot districting. I kind of want to redo this graph, but this is a sample of Jerusalem. As cities and garrisons have plots of lands that have been designated by developers, as mentioned above, these plots can build and upgrade structures eligible for that zone. These structures can also be destroyed by invaders and must be maintained and rebuilt by monarchs or dukes. Tradesmen with different jobs and from the various guilds can be commissioned for favor or gold to repair and build these structures. These structures can be a simple domicile for a knight, a tavern for a guild to operate out of, or a church ran by a local diocese. Certain plots have historical significance and cannot be altered, like you just like tear the dome of the rock and build a statue to yourself there. Certain restrictions historically. Oh my god, I love that image. Battles and conquest. The spec requirements are going to be higher than what they would be for a typical Roblox game for sure. So you should keep that in mind. So save up. If you don't have a good device now, save up so you have one by the time this releases, which, isn't going to be like next, so you have some time. Battles and conquests will be how rival lords, dukes, and monarchs handle disputes and power. Persistent world territory conquest, just like we have now. Here's an example of a military convoy. So this would basically be a garrison battle on a different scale. So let's imagine duchy wants to conquer another duchy. So we have the French garrison duchy of Asamu and the English Duchy of Beersheba Fortress. So France starts a military convoy with supplies so they can actually launch a successful attack. Next, France declares war and incurs into enemy English territory. Side camps are established at key locations. You can see here it's very difficult to see, but if you really zoom in, you can see those little houses or side camps where they can spawn. If they capture 60% of the lordships, they're then eligible to start a siege on Beersheba Fortress. They establish their encampment. If they break through the walls and capture the garrison, the duchy becomes French territory. And every time a soldier dies, it reduces their supplies, and their granary has to be replenished. So collecting food is very essential for maintaining a siege from both sides. Skirmishes are small battles between two duchies located within the Holy Land. Duchy and kingdoms located within the Holy Land. Players will be using matchmaking-like menu for maximum accessibility anytime. When an opponent is found, players will choose the desired map environment, such as the duchy garrison. Players will then choose a desired game mode between economic skirmish or wartime skirmish. Economic skirmishes can be done between rival duchies in the same kingdom, retinues, or between your kingdom and another. Wartime skirmishes can be done by only to other kingdoms or in wartime. It causes negative effects for the loser. There are 7 gameplay modes: resource raid, caravan, sabotage, capture the flag, control points, regicide, blood feud. By the way, guys, this only the beginning. We had a maximum word count. We could have made this 3 times longer for the Kickstarter. So we tried to include the best stuff we could. Tournaments are ways for knights to continue to progress in their kingdom by earning favor, gain renown for their fame and skills, and gold for their own personal wealth. Tournaments are hosted by specific kingdoms and can be either global or local to a specific kingdom. By representing your kingdom in a foreign tournament rather than local, you earn extra favor. Global tournaments are also harder to enlist in, and only the most qualified and skilled knights will be eligible. Caravans, resources would need to be transferred in order to meet a kingdom's wider needs. To facilitate this, wagons are craftable in order to start a caravan one area to the other. In garrison management, cities and garrisons will have various buildings and roles to upkeep and regulate different economic, military aspects of the territory. All right, we're keeping Blood Feud, hopefully improving on it too. A keep is managed and owned by the monarch or duke, capital or duchy directly. A barracks is managed by the monarch or duke. This is where you house your soldiers, like getting basically like a personal armory, also managed by the monarch or duke. And you could get progress in the form of weapon tokens when you rank up, which you can trade at the armory or a weapon. Stockpile, tradesmen engage goods and materials for favor. Granary, managed by magnate and patrician assigned by the monarch or duke. Helps supply and determine how many reinforcements can spawn in a battle through convoys or siege defenses. Treasury is where taxes are managed or assigned by a sheriff or by the duke or monarch directly. Taxes must be collected and delivered to the treasury, which is then used via the gold economy to pay soldiers. This game will be on Steam. This is not going to be on Roblox. Combat. Combat is one of the core mechanics inside Lionhearts, and anyone in the kingdom military hierarchy will need to master it in some form to progress and become a valuable member of the retinue. It's going to be directional melee just like we have now. Parry-based system, where you select a direction for both attack and defend. Your opponent loses a right slash, then you need to defend with a parry and vice versa. Players will also have the ability to use bows, siege weapons, bow of an apostrophe, siege weapons, warhammers, daggers, and many more weapon types. Just like now. Weapon progression. Lionheart's armor weapon progression has two parts to it: the obtaining of a higher tier and upgrade. Material tiers. For all weapons and armor, there are 8 material types. Now, as players obtain progressively higher tier weapons, the armor and damage, defense, and durability of those items increase. Now, this is something I'm really excited. This is the final part of like just the actual features. Character shadows. Character shadowing is the mechanic that allows the Lionhearts economy to work without active player participation at all times. Players set up tasks for their shadow to complete while they are away or offline. You can set a primary task, which is repeated, and a secondary task, which is event-based, that interrupts the primary. The shadow will repeat these tasks until interrupted. Shadows will allow the player character to exist and perform key duties in the desired role while they are away. Baking bread, attending a battle, or performing an absolution. Tasks can be given and performed by shadows while they're away. So, character, Lionhearts doesn't sleep. Your character lives in Lionhearts. You always find them in Lionhearts, okay? If a blacksmith, hey, hammer away at that for the next 12 hours while I sleep. You only have an hour to log on a day. Your character is still there for 23 hours while you're not, okay? If you can't attend, send your character, right? These are automated programmed actions, right? And this is the only place where we're considering AI use, and we're going to talk about that. Our company. This is all stuff on our website, which you can go through. Our is delivering quality experience that honor our players. Taking the time to yield a perfected project yields the best results. We prioritize thoughtful development over expedient shortcuts. We believe it's extraordinary. Credenzio Studios has already proven this can be done through our game Lionhearts Crusade, the most ambitious project ever completed on Roblox, which I believe is true. Many of the features in Lionhearts were been tried and tested within Crusade to some extent. Obviously, not all of them. With over 6 million plays, this title served both as a proof of concept and learning environment for Credenzio Studios to determine what works and what doesn't. The lessons learned will be used to make a Steam game like no other. Stick around because we are going to be debuting what we have so far for the new Lionhearts logo. Funding usage. The funding used in this Kickstarter will be used to secure the future of Lionhearts development. By maintaining independence through crowdfunding, Credenzio Studios can ensure the success and integrity of the vision of Lionhearts without any political, ideological, or exterior corporate influence. That's why we're doing this, guys, because I don't want to have to go to a big investor who's going to tell me how to make this game. I want to make this game the way I've outlined it, the way that I've dreamed of making it for years. And by funding this game and helping support this Kickstarter, guys, you're making sure we can do that. Because most of these games, not to call out anybody, but they sell out and they go for, you know, gonna tell them what to do. It's not your game anymore. Okay? That's why we're this. I really believe in this. You guys donate. I hope you guys, if you don't have the money, tell your friends, like share it. It's gonna be up to this community in a lot of ways to get this message out there. We're going to do as much as we can on top of that. Risks and challenges. Any game that is as ambitious as Lionhearts poses massive risk as successful execution and timelines are concerned. Credenzio Studios LLC has spent 5 years developing a proof of concept of this project on Roblox, Lionhearts Crusade. Despite being on Roblox, Lionhearts Crusade was able to achieve major technical accomplishments on a much less forgiving platform. During this time, the studio was able to iron out major difficulties and challenges a massive project like this faces. The systems designed for Lionhearts on Steam using Unreal Engine 5 come out of experience of what works, not just mere theory. Like, guys, a lot of the systems in here I've tried in Crusade. I said it doesn't work. We threw it out. We rewrote it. This is all from, tempered time and trial and error. Furthermore, Credenzio Studios has proven its dedication to a large community of over 10,000 on how to run a game, deal with issues, and consistently deliver. Credenzio Studios has been and continues to be dedicated to this project for the long run. Through a comprehensive infrastructure, Credenzio Studios leverages hundreds of connections throughout the gaming industry to accomplish goals internally through employed development, as well as externally with our global partners and contractors. Credenzio Studios is not only equipped to handle a large and ambitious project like Lionhearts, but has already proven their capacity to complete such a project with even less resources and technical support with Lionhearts Crusade. Okay, let's get AI. Use of AI. By training AI models, we hope to give characters and NPCs more sophisticated dialogue for their player counterparts when they are offline. We will not be using AI to complete any development portions of the game, including artwork, level design, programming, or otherwise. Everything will be designed by a human and implemented by the human. The music, to the level design, to the programming, to everything, okay? The only thing we're thinking about using AI for is I'm going to train this AI model so my shadow can have conversations when I'm gone in the way I want. That's what we're planning. Supplementary in very measured ways. Ready for the debut of the new Lionhearts logo. Are you ready? I need to hear it, chat. In progress. I'm gonna give you guys a little teaser. There it is. Realize you couldn't. Here we are. Not completely done. You can see it's very inspired from the old logo. Also inspired from Lord of the Rings. It's not the exact same. It's inspired, and it's not done yet. There's still more elements being added, but I really like it. See the beveling and the shading and the 3D aspects as compared to this. Yeah, it's very, but it's like to say these two images are the same is kind of crazy. Guys, so this is going to be on Kickstarter very soon. And if we raise the money and you guys help, I think we're going to be able to do it. I know we will.